As I prepared to return to my hometown to give birth, I was taken aback by my mother-in-law's smirk when I asked for her advice. "Why don't you just stay there forever? I don't want to see your freeloading face again," she said, her harsh words cutting deep. Though the sting of her insult lingered, I managed to respond calmly. "All right, take care then. I'm Michelle, a 32-year-old professional. My relationship with Kevin began 3 years ago at a party where our shared passion for music brought us together. After exchanging numbers, we started spending our evenings discussing everything from our favorite tunes to work challenges, usually over drinks at the local bar. Time with Kevin always flew by, and before long, we were officially a couple. I felt more content than ever, and our weekends together became the highlight of my week, driving me to work harder during the weekdays. Our bond served as a significant boost to my career, providing both support and motivation. After a year, we decided to take a major step and moved in together, both committed to our future and contemplating marriage. Sharing a home allowed us to grow closer, revealing each other's quirks and habits. Now, a year into cohabitation, my desire to marry Kevin has only intensified, and I eagerly await his proposal, sensing he's looking for the perfect moment. Then, out of the blue, Kevin invited me to an upscale restaurant for dinner. It wasn't a special occasion, yet I felt a stirring in my gut that this might be it. Arriving after work, nerves and excitement danced within me. Upon seeing him, I noticed that he appeared even more anxious than I was. His palpable tension oddly calmed my own nerves, and I couldn't help but chuckle at his awkward greeting. Throughout the meal, Kevin's anxiety was evident. As we finished our main course, he turned to me and softly said, "Michelle." His earnest gaze made my heart race. "You're the most wonderful person in my life, and I want to cherish you forever. I hope you feel the same way. Will you marry me?" With that, he revealed a ring. My response was immediate and filled with joy. "Yes, I can't wait to start our life together." After our engagement, I was swept up in happiness, but reality quickly set in. We had to meet each other's families, organize gatherings, and plan our wedding. Balancing all this with our demanding jobs proved challenging, yet Kevin and I managed to carve out time to move our plans forward. When I introduced Kevin to my parents, they took to him immediately, charmed by his warmth and sincerity. Their approval meant everything to me, and I felt grateful they embraced our decision to marry. However, my visit to Kevin's parents took an unexpected turn. Upon meeting me, his mother bluntly remarked, "Kevin's fiancé, you seem rather plain." Her words caught me off guard. Before I could respond, Kevin interjected, "Mom, what are you saying? She's the woman I've chosen." His defensive tone surprised me. "I'm just being honest," she shot back. Kevin's father quickly stepped in, trying to defuse the situation. "Enough, Susan, that's uncalled for." Despite their efforts to stand up for me, I struggled to shake off the hurt her words had caused. Later, Kevin apologized, saying, "I'm sorry about my mom. She can be too straightforward. I've never liked it either." His honesty took me aback. "Don't let her comments get to you. If she crosses a line after we're married, just let me know. I'll handle it," he promised earnestly. His reassurance eased my worries. From the beginning of our relationship, Kevin had shown a protective side, even during that initial encounter with his parents. Yet, I still felt anxious about the upcoming family gathering, fearing his mother might disrespect my parents as well. Kevin assured me he would manage the situation delicately, and I had prepared my parents about Susan's formidable personality, hoping they would be somewhat ready. When the day of the family meeting arrived, I was a bundle of nerves for entirely different reasons. "Hello, I'm Kevin's dad. It's a pleasure to meet you," Jack said warmly, extending his hand to my parents. "We're Michelle's mom and dad," they replied politely, keeping the atmosphere friendly. While they exchanged pleasantries with Jack, Susan remained aloof, ordering a drink without participating in the conversation. "I'll take her red wine. Looks like we'll need a bit of a drink to make this interesting," she quipped, her remark casting an uncomfortable shadow over the gathering. My parents were momentarily stunned by her bluntness. Both Jack and Kevin quickly apologized for her rudeness. As dinner continued, my parents and Jack seemed to hit it off, engaging in pleasant conversation, while Susan remained mostly silent, focused on her meal. However, as the drinks flowed, she began interrupting rudely. "A government job may be stable, but the pay isn't anything to brag about. Kevin's marrying into such boring people," she blurted, her disruptive comments escalating throughout the evening. "If they have kids, they'll probably be just as dull," she added sharply, clearly crossing a line. "That's enough," Jack thundered, his voice thick with anger. "You need to leave now." Susan left reluctantly, muttering about how she was just being honest. Jack escorted her outside and arranged a cab for her ride home. When he returned, he and Kevin apologized once again for her behavior. I felt a wave of relief wash over me that we had reserved a private room. Susan had proven to be a greater challenge than we had anticipated. At our wedding, Susan was noticeably more reserved, likely influenced by Jack's stern warning to behave impeccably or face serious repercussions. He had even alluded to the possibility of divorce if she embarrassed them again. Thankfully, she managed to hold back her comments, allowing the ceremony to proceed flawlessly, much to my relief. With that, Kevin and I embarked on our married life with genuine enthusiasm. Our relationship was filled with joy, and we shared household responsibilities evenly, ensuring that neither of us felt overwhelmed. Kevin's exceptional cooking was a delightful bonus. On days when he came home late from work but still took on the role of chef, we would cook together, transforming our time in the kitchen into a shared joy. Kevin made a point to visit his family home alone whenever possible. I longed to see the faces of my only family, my son and his wife. Her words struck a chord. Her vulnerability was palpable. Could I stay with you for a little while? She asked, desperation creeping into her voice. Kevin and I exchanged glances, taken aback by her request. I feel like I'll be crushed by loneliness if things continue this way, she pleaded. We hesitated but reasoned that a short stay might not be harmful. Susan seemed fragile, and we doubted she had the energy to be hostile towards me, so we agreed to let her stay. Surprisingly, Susan adapted well. Staying in your home is the least I can do. Thank you, you're lifesavers, she said gratefully. Both Kevin and I appreciated her efforts, and life felt manageable, almost pleasant. However, after about 5 months, Susan slowly began to revert to her old habits. One day, she casually remarked, "Michelle, aren't you planning to quit your job? Isn't it normal for wives to stop working?" I started to respond, "You've been working all this time," but her tone quickly grew harsher, signaling a return to her previous self. Turning to Kevin, I said, "Okay, we need to talk to Mom and suggest she consider moving back to her hometown." When Kevin approached Susan about it, her response took us by surprise. "I've already sold the family home," she confessed. Kevin and I exchanged shocked glances. "Mom, why would you do that without discussing it with us? That was our family home. I inherited it from Dad," Kevin exclaimed, disbelief evident in his voice. "Selling it was my decision," Susan defended herself, but her casual dismissal stung. "You should have at least informed us," Kevin countered, frustration bubbling to the surface. "I forgot. Sorry. Now I have nowhere else to go, so please don't kick me out," she pleaded. We were left speechless, struggling to process this new reality. Just as we were coming to terms with the situation, I discovered I was pregnant. Kevin and I were overjoyed. We had been hoping for a child but were almost ready to give up due to our age. This was truly wonderful news. However, the joy of our growing family was tempered by the prospect of dealing with Susan during my pregnancy. Her complaints resumed, and she argued with Kevin, saying, "Why do I have to cook for you too? I'm only staying here because of Kevin, not you." Traditionally, it's the wife who handles all the housework, he explained. While Susan would cook only for herself and Kevin, she stubbornly avoided any chores related to me. Despite Kevin's reprimands, her remorse was fleeting, and she quickly slipped back into her old habits. At my wit's end, I decided to start my maternity leave early and return to my parents' home for some peace. When I discussed this with Kevin, he suggested a solution we both agreed on. As we made our plans, I informed Susan about our decision. "You're going back home to give birth?" she asked, her voice edged with hostility. "Yes, I believe it's the best choice for a safe delivery, and it means I'll be leaving household duties behind for a while. Kevin supports this decision," I explained. Hearing this, Susan smirked disdainfully. "Why not just stay at your parents' house forever? I don't want to see your parasitic face around here anyway. I bet even Kevin has had enough of you. You don't need to come back to this house anymore," she sneered. Surprisingly, her harsh words brought me a sense of relief. "All right then, take care," I replied calmly and returned to my parents' home. They welcomed me with open arms, providing the peace and comfort I needed during this time. A month later, Kevin visited my parents' house with exciting news. "I finally got the green light from work to transition to remote work permanently, and I found us a new place to live," he announced. "That's fantastic," I exclaimed, thrilled. Kevin had rented an apartment close to my parents' home, making it easier for us to start our new life. He then ended the lease on the room Susan had been occupying and finalized our move to the new apartment. Susan was clearly unsettled by these developments and called me in a panic. "Hey Michelle, where are you?" "I'm at our new place with Kevin," I replied. "New place? Where?" Her voice was urgent and somewhat frantic. "I'll let you know in time, but I have to be honest. The lease here is being cancelled, and everything's being moved out. I can't stay here anymore," I explained calmly, emphasizing the fresh start Kevin and I were making. "Kevin said he's cutting ties with me. He doesn't want to talk to me anymore," she said, her voice cracking. "Yes, we're starting fresh somewhere else," I added, trying to convey the finality of our decision. "So you were just pretending to be nice to stay here, huh? This was your plan all along," she accused, misinterpreting my intentions. "Because you couldn't make any money from selling the house you got from Jack, right?" "How did you find out?" I asked, surprised that she knew. "You were venting to the neighbors about how frustrated you were that the house your husband left had no value. Then suddenly it was up for sale. People just can't keep quiet about things like that. Give me Kevin back. I'm that kid's parent, so I have the right to live with him. As I've told you before, he doesn't want to see you, and I won't pressure him into something he's uncomfortable with," I replied calmly. Susan's temper flared at my words. "Who do you think you are, acting all high and mighty when you're just a broke, freeloading plain wife? That's not a nice thing to say." But it's the truth, she snapped. Well, I doubt our paths will cross much in the future, so it doesn't concern me, I replied coolly. Just to clarify, alongside my full-time job, I have a side gig, and I actually earn more than Kevin, I added. Oh really? What's this side gig? Susan asked, skepticism dripping from her voice. I initially studied web design, so I've been taking on projects in that field, with both my salary and freelance